Hello there, I'm Bob Donaldson, and we're talking about directions today. Directions home. Have you ever tried to follow one of these maps? Have you ever tried to even fold one up? Have you ever been in a situation where you lost your sense of direction? Maybe you lost your bearings, or maybe you got confused. I had a person give me directions to their house one day, and they said you go to the third stoplight when you get into town, and you'll see a 7-Eleven on the right, and you turn there, and there'll be a big old oak tree there, and you go down about 1/4 mile, and you'll see a bridge, and right after that bridge there's a dirt road to the right. Turn there and come on down to the house. Well, first of all, there's not a 7-Eleven at the third stoplight. It's at the fourth stoplight, and at the tree where the bridge is, and you cross the bridge, and the dirt road's to the left, not to the right, and I took it and it went around a circle and came back out. Listen, we live in a fast-paced world, and we got a lot of information to process, and so much is calling upon us, and we're busy people, and we live in an instant society, and we got drive-through everything, and we got pay at the pump. And listen, have you ever just had your mind so full of stuff that you just didn't know which direction to go? Not long ago, I was driving down the road, and I literally had to pull off the side of the road. I had so much on my mind, I had to just sit there quietly and process where I was going and what direction I needed to go in. Listen, the Bible tells us to examine ourselves to make sure we're going in the right direction. Make sure we're where we think we are. There's a lot of spiritual directions out there today, as there always has been. And a lot of them look good, and they sound good, and they taste good, and they might even smell good, but they'll sure make you feel good. But the writer of Proverbs chapter 14 verse 12 said, "There is a way that seems right, but in the end it leads to death." And Jesus picked up on that thought in Matthew chapter 7 verse 13, and he said, "Wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction." Listen, before us every day lies a way that seems to be pleasant, and it seems to be wide, and it seems to be easy, and many go down that way. And unfortunately, spiritually, a lot of those pathways lead to death and destruction. Maybe you've been there. Maybe you've been down those roads. Jesus said, "But small is the gate and narrow is the road that leads to life, and few take it." Listen, sometimes it's confusing. Life can be confusing, and we have so many different directions given to us. Maybe you've lost your way. Maybe you've just been confused. Maybe you're discouraged. Maybe you know the way, but it's just too complicated and it's hard to understand. And listen, we've got a new little segment here that we're going to be talking about, and we're going to call it Directions Home, and we've got the best book to get us there. The best directions to get us there is called the Bible. It's B-I-B-L-E, which I like to say is basic instructions before leaving earth, and they're good instructions, and they're not confusing. And we're going to look at those instructions as we go along, and we're going to try real hard to make them simple and make them concise and make them understandable. There was a man once back in the 1700s that wrote a song that went something like this. His name was John Newton. He said, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but yet now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares I have already gone. 'Tis grace that brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home." That's the key word we'll be using in these directions home. Grace, unmerited favor. One reason we get so confused and we get disoriented in our spiritual walk is because we don't know that God loves us for who we are, not by what we do. We're going to be talking about those things. I hope you'll tune back in on the next time. In the meantime, I'm Bob Donaldson, and this is Directions Home.